For the people who have no idea what is the message from the future, in this series we're going to go just chit chat about, let's say, stuff that we're going to review here on the channel, or in this case we're going to make like a quick tutorial. And he's been terminated. Okay. I think like the Pandora's Box DX was one of the biggest disappointments back in the day when it was just released. And the reason why with the DX, I don't know much with you, but I was expecting a lot of new great things. Oh boy, so let's do a quick recap of all the other models, so you know what I'm talking about. So let's talk about the Pandora's Box number 5. This is basically the first Pandora's Box that I ever bought. I must say I was blown away for what it could do. It's more like freaking magic, dudes. But the thing is, like with the Pandora's Box 5, it had only 960 games and it needed to work with a USB drive. Oh, by the way, I've lost it. So basically this thing is just a freaking brick now. And the problem was with this USB drive, it only contains some boot files and not a lot of information, but the thing is like you cannot like slap in a random USB drive, add some files you can play. This thing was very flawed, so if I can't find this freaking USB drive, I can just basically hang it on my wall because there's nothing I could do with it anymore. Okay, so the Pandora's Box 6 was an improvement in many ways. Not only that we had more games, you had the option to play PlayStation 1. But PlayStation 1, oh boy, that was not a good thing, because PlayStation 1 was pretty damn messed up. So what do I mean with pretty damn messed up? It's very simple. So the games that were on it, so first of all, not all of them had like the background music, so they did a messing job with just adding the games. But also if you want to add some of these games through the thumb drive, that was one of the possibilities that you had with this version. It was highly possible when it started to use the rumble function in game, it just crashes the emulator. Stuff like that, unforgivable in my opinion. And then we had the Pandora's Box DX. And I can say I was quite disappointed, and I think a lot of you were too. Because first of all, 5, 6, 7, no, we're going to call this the DX to begin with. I was more like, what were you thinking over there? More like, why didn't you call this the Pandora's Box number 6? Also having the CX, but that is something for a different story. Okay, so let's take a close look at the main board, because I also heard they did let's say a downgrade. It's a little bit of a bummer in my opinion, and I can't get it open, stupid thing. Like, we're going to get this passive cooling. Look at how tiny it is. And I can tell you, after using it for a couple of hours, it gets really hot. And with I wish they were just using like an active fan. So let's put you, just to be honest with you guys, some of these things can get broken and they sound like a freaking vacuum cleaner. So passive is not all that bad. No, it is not. But more like make it bigger in case of way better cooling. There are still some holes in here, so basically it can release the heat of the CPU. But oh boy, I was quite pissed off seeing this. More like, why are you doing this? So the Pandory team is going to release a new firmware update for the Pandora's Box DX, and it will fix a lot of issues, like a lot of them. So let's do a quick overview of that and let's see what are we going to get when it comes to the performance and what did they improve with the Pandora's Box DX. So when you take a close look at the settings menu, you had some optimization options, like quality optimization that removes the pixels and gives it more like a smooth, really smooth kind of look. But overall, a lot of people were not the biggest fan of it, and they added now scan line function. So with this new option, you can also mix it up, and it did like a small comparison just to show you what are the differences and how does it look in the end. But sadly, we didn't have the aspect ratio as well other, let's say, improvements that the Pandory tool managed to fix here on the Pandora's Box. So in my opinion, I think that is just genius. And the pixel filter, I don't mind using it sometimes. The scanline filter didn't work with every single game. It did have some issues with that. And it seems to be like, if you're going to put them side by side, if they are working, both I do like them. But the aspect ratio option was always more like the #1 complaint from everybody here in the Pandora jungle community. So let's take a close look at the fixes they bring us. So the first thing that you're going to get is the aspect ratio has finally been fixed, and this is for every single emulator / game you're using. You can overclock the FBA, and that means that games like Metal Slug will run way better. Another really interesting fix is the sharp pixel, and that is something that maybe a lot of people will like. And indeed, removing the binary blur, all these things that people don't like, they fixed it. Well, when playing some Pandora's Book DX, the performance in general was okay. But I noticed some other things I find very annoying when you're having like some fast game like screen tearing, and we couldn't go to the dip switches. And yep, they reduced the screen tearing. For a great example, when you're having Adventure Island, stuff like that, it is just reduced, and this is way better than with the original software. Also now we hold start for the dip switch settings if you want to tinker with the original MAME emulator, and I think that is pretty cool because I was personally missing it out. Pandora's Box DX has some minor improvements, especially when it comes to the save function. But with the Pandory tool, guys, we now have the option to play with all the characters of Tekken. Pandora's Box DX had more like a slightly stylish menu compared with the Pandora's Box 5 and 6, but it had this a really annoying sound when you're choosing a different game, and not to even start about the freaking nightmare intro. Having the options for ROM specific RetroArch settings, they improved the menu, give it a really awesome new intro. So in overall, they did a lot of improvements that I personally was waiting for, and I must say that this new menu looks really stylish. I personally like the bluish color. So maybe you don't share the hate, maybe you like the Pandora's Box DX, nevertheless it doesn't even matter. The thing is, like, we need to be happy to having people like the Team Pandory spending the free time improving the things that they made in China. So in overall, like, the idea behind the Pandora's Box, I love it, like a plug and play device, but it is so flawed in many freaking ways. And that is something that I really hate, and what I really love when it comes to the Pandory team, that they fix the stuff and make it even better. Of course, it's still underpowered, and this means like we can't play a lot of stuff like PlayStation Portable, Dreamcast. I wish that we have like this beefy Pandora's Box in the future. If you want to have some more information, I did a lot of reviewing about the Pandora's Box DX. There are a lot of different versions out there when it comes to hardware. But yeah, if you want to have more information about the upcoming update, would say check the Pandory team channel. They have a YouTube channel, they have a Discord. And if you want to support the guys, buy them a coffee. They also have a Patreon. Nevertheless, I'm glad that there are people out there who are fixing their issues so we can have an amazing time playing together alone or have some fun in general. But thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and we'll see you in the next video.